I'm going to cover several things in this video. I'm going to start with NDEs, near-death experiences, visitation dreams, the afterlife, my interpretation of it. I'm going to cover the hardcore skeptics, the ones that believe that we don't have an afterlife, we don't have a soul. If somebody cares to debate me in a civil, rational way, I'd certainly be willing to do it. Now, do I have proof that we have a soul or anything like that? Do I have proof that there is a God? No, I don't. That's just my personal beliefs. Now, let me get to NDEs, near-death experiences. There are people that have clinically died. You know, their body is dead. There's no brain activity. Some people are, recover on their own. Some people are brought back through medical intervention. But some of them, not all of them, some of them will come back with some of the most interesting, the most fascinating stories. They're all a little bit different. It's each of us have our own interpretation of things. And some of the people will talk about going to heaven. Some people will talk about meeting up with Jesus, that type of thing. And with one guy, it's people that report of actually going to hell. And those are just as interesting as anything else. Now, I don't personally believe in a hell in the Christian sense. I believe there is a hell on the astral plane. I've gotten to that before. I probably won't get into that here. There's one guy, at least one guy, that had reported to have an NDE where he'd end up in a bar, but he couldn't drink. So I'm guessing it was those guys that like to hang out in the bar, and that was his hell, not being able to consume any alcohol in this bar, which I find kind of interesting. Now, there's been a number of studies. Raymond Moody has written quite a few books. He's probably got some videos here on YouTube. I think some of his TV shows are here on YouTube. If you search NDEs, all kind of interesting stories will come up. Like I said, again, I find NDEs some of the most fascinating, some of the most interesting things to watch. Now, Dr. Raymond, or Sam, now I don't know exactly how to pronounce the guy's name, so I don't mean any offense, Sam Parana. He did a study. He's written some books and stuff, but he, in an operating theater, he'd took some signs, wrote some words on them, words, numbers. I think he'd changed them practically. Now, I think what he should have done, so put some signs, put something that you wouldn't normally find in an operating theater, above an operating table, maybe a G.I. Joe or Gumby doll, maybe put a Ken and Barbie doll in a, what if that car they have with, it's a kid's toy with, Jane and, or, a Barbie doll in a car, something you wouldn't normally find in an operating theater, and something somebody could easily remember because it's just something unusual to be there. I think if somebody knows Sam, hey, get this to him and say, hey, if you're still doing a study, find something strange to put above your operating table so somebody would remember it. Just my thoughts. Now, on visitation dreams, now I did have a couple of visitation dreams. Like I said, again, I've never had an NDE. I don't think I really care to die just to have an NDE. If I did by accident, I would certainly post here my experience if I did have one. Now, on visitation dreams, I have had a couple of those. I've had a couple of girlfriends that are no longer with us, and the visitation dreams were with them. I'm not going to relate the content of the dream, but just say that I had them, and I do believe that they were real. Now, the idea is, at least among us New Agers, that every night, everyone, during deep sleep, we all go out of body. It's called astral projection or spirit travel. If you're interested, search on YouTube. It's all out there. Now, and when we actually were out in our astral body at night during deep sleep, we actually meet up with the spirit, the soul of that individual that we had, that no longer part of our physical lives. That those visitation dreams, are actually meeting up with those people. I'm going to get to hardcore skeptics at the end of my video. But anyway, that's the belief. And that when you do remember, you'll remember as a dream. A lot of times people will go out of body and don't even remember because they're in such deep sleep. But anyway, that's the visitation dreams. Like I said, I've had a couple of those. And I certainly found those interesting. Now, let me get to the hardcore skeptics. Now, I call these the go for the gusto people. Now, that's for an old beer rad. I don't remember the brand of beer. It's no longer sold. The commercial's no longer around. You could probably find it here on YouTube because everything else is here on YouTube. But anyway, there are people that believe that we're just soulless meat sacks. That if you care to believe that, fine. That's not my belief. I said I believe in a supreme being. I believe we have a soul in afterlife. Okay, again, my image of the afterlife is the astral plane. That's no more valid. My beliefs are no more valid than the Christian concept of hell, or the Nordic people's vision of the Valhalla, or the Native Americans' image of the happy hunting ground. A few Native Americans believe in the happy hunting ground. I think most of them are probably Christian, and they probably believe in heaven, which is perfectly fine. However you interpret your whatever your image of the afterlife is. Now there are people that do visit astral plane, during an NDE, and will come up with different areas, and that's just a matter of your personal beliefs. Your personal beliefs will take you to that part of the astral plane that fits within your belief system. That is my belief. And there are people that do experience a hell in the afterlife, on the astral plane. Now, I believe they are visiting a hell. Now, I don't believe it is hell in the Christian sense, in a punishment by a loving God. I don't personally believe in hell in that sense, but I believe that there are people that do believe in hell and do believe that they belong there, and they've created that hell for themselves. I do believe in hell in that sense, because there are people that have reported coming back with that type of interpretation of an afterlife. And let me get to the Astral Garden. Now, if you search here on YouTube and throughout the net, Astral Garden will come up, and it's in books too, written on the astral plane. Now, the Astral Garden is kind of a meetup place, for people that have recently departed to meet up with passed on loved ones. Maybe they'll meet up with their spirit guides that are kind of guiding them along, saying, well, this is what's going to happen. This is what your afterlife is kind of. I believe the afterlife is as much a learning experience as our physical reality here on the physical earth plane. That's my interpretation of it. Again, if somebody wants to have some type of civil debate with me, I would be up for it, but it's got to remain civil and peaceful and all that, or I'm not going to be interested in doing it. If you got your own YouTube channel and want to debate me, now, a real serious hardcore atheist, I probably wouldn't meet up with one of those. But if you're more open-minded, I'd certainly be open for it. Okay, love y'all. Let's stay interesting. Let's stay spooky out there. Let's keep life exciting and interesting. Let's carry on no matter what's happening in our lives. Okay, bye-bye.